Welcome, welcome to the Sista Chez show. As you can see, I've got my guests in the house. Absolutely looking forward to a really interesting conversation this evening with my beloved guests. We've got our brother Caul in the house. We've got brother Kwesi in the house. And we've got Sista Chez in the house. Welcome, welcome each of you to the Sista Chez show platform. And the family is going to be coming through the house now as we speak. Grab that link from YouTube, family. Now that we've gone live, the link ought to be available so that you can share that link with the family. And family who's coming through the door, how are you? I hope you are well. I hope you have risen in power. I hope you have risen in strength. I hope that the day has been absolutely fantastic, blacktastic for you so far, and that you are as excited as I am for this show that we've got lined up for you today. So my computer's just doing a little syncing in the background, and then I'm going to grab the link and start sending it out to the family. I know most of you know the drill. You just go to my site, go to live, and there you will find the link. But there are also many of you who wait for me to send the link. So as soon as WhatsApp allows me, I will post the link and start sending it out to you. So when you come through the door, let us know that you are in the house. Let us know where in the world you are watching us from. Okay, we absolutely want to welcome you today. So drop a message in the chat. Right, let me let everyone know that we are live. Brother Caul, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Greetings, Sister Shanice. Thank you so much for, I'm getting my S's tied up there. Thank you so much for this wonderful invite on your beautiful, wonderful platform. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, it's an honor and a privilege to have you in the house, beloved. Family, you're going to get to know Brother Caul tonight. Welcome, welcome, Brother Kwesi. Take yourself off mute.
Yes, Sister Shanice, thank you. And yeah, we appreciate this opportunity, giving us this audience to reach more of our people. So yes, we're live and kicking and ready to rock and roll.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely fantastic. Let's hear from Sista Chez. Oh, Sista Chez, welcome, welcome.
Welcome, my sister, welcome. And give thanks for, you know, for allowing us onto your beautiful, beautiful platform. So I just want to send that appreciate love to you and appreciate love to your audience as well, to the ones out there that's going to be tuning in to hear us this evening, and the works that we actually do as well within CTJ and with Brother Kwesi. Do you want to say your one as well?
Truth, justice, peace, freedom, trust.
There we go. So yeah.
Say that again. Truth, justice, peace, and
African African principles.
Yes. It might be my end,
just because they all link to each other. So from the truth, yes.
Sorry, Brother Kwesi.
So the truth. Yeah. What, they cannot hear?
Right. So they
hello.
They didn't hear your
little bit of interference.
Yeah.
The truth, justice.
So we'll and come again.
Freedom, trust. Truth, justice, peace, freedom, and then trust.
Trust.
Which
Brother Kwesi, there's something wrong with you. It says it's coming up here. Yeah. Network bandwidth is low. So whatever is going on there.
Okay, well, if it's my end, sincere apologies, just continue, okay? Occasionally, because you know I'm on the continent, we just have to work with what we've got out here. So if I drop out, just pretend you didn't even notice that I've gone and just carry on, okay? That's how we do it around here.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I can see Kimani's in the house, absolutely fantastic. Come on, I can see there's more of you in the house. Drop us a message in the chat. Rise up. Brother Kofi's in the house. Oh, good to see you in the house. Also, Brother Kofi. Come on, join Brother Kimani and Brother Kofi and let us know that you're in the house. Drop us a message Let us know where in the world you're actually watching us from. Okay, we are so excited about our show tonight. And Brother Caul, you actually sent me a video. I'm going to be sending that out I'm going to be playing that in a very short while. Oh, actually, that reminds me that we do have our course coming up very soon. So I'll be playing you that video in a short while as well. I've got to find that for you. So while I do some posting in the background, okay, what we're going to do is I'm just going to introduce each of our wonderful, wonderful guests. No, I'll introduce them one at a time. Introduce my guests to you and ask them to just tell us and share with us the works that they've been doing in the UK. Today, family, we are going to be focusing on Britain. There is quite a substantial Black community in Britain, but even though there is, some of the time, you wouldn't even know there's a Black community in Britain because you don't see us on the Tell Live Vision. They hide us from the media. And a lot of people outside of Britain don't even know that there's Black people in Britain. Hey, we've been in Britain for over 200,000 years. You know, some of us think we just came over here with the Windrush. But anyway, those of us who are here now, we have a story to tell. And Brother Caul Grant, what a story he has to tell. Brother Caul Grant, he's the chairman of Campaign for Truth and Justice. And, you know, he started this campaign following a very tragic incident that impacted his life enormously. And it set him on a journey that has impacted so many lives. And sadly, it was a tragic loss, an untimely death of one of his children that impacted him. His young Prince Anthony Grant was taken away tragically back in 1994, and he died of dehydration at a hospital. Absolutely unforgivable. And we will call the name of the hospital. It was King's College Hospital, London, a teaching hospital, which is supposed to be an outstanding hospital. But what does this tell us? It tells us about the treatment that we as Africans, as Black people in the UK sometimes get. And so, you know, we're going to be doing this series. We're going to be talking about the good, the bad, and the ugly, about the treatment of us as Africans in the UK. Indeed. Brother Caul Grant, I wonder if you could continue introducing yourself to the audience and sharing your story with us, please.
Yes, indeed. So once again, Sister Shanice, give thanks. Really appreciate this invitation. And yes, indeed, you seem to have a full knowledge of what's that was a great intro into what has happened and going on nearly 30 years now, when my 14-month-old son was left to die from dehydration at King's College Hospital. And I believe, as you've just implied, that, you know, the color, and I know his name had something to do with it, because it seems that he was initially seen very quickly. As soon as he was brought into casualty, a junior doctor saw him fairly promptly, and he was concerned that, you know, that he needed to have an X-ray, but he needed to get a senior doctor to come in and admit him for those things. So apparently the junior doctor had to raise hell to get the senior doctor to come in, and because he was Prince Anthony Grant, he's got a Prince Anthony Grant here in casualty, and of course because he wasn't a prince in their eyes, just he just, as I said, the junior doctor had to raise hell for him to come along. And when the senior doctor did eventually turn up, he breezed over the baby, said there's nothing wrong, and refused to admit the baby. And so the junior doctor then said to my wife, whatever you do, do not leave this hospital with that baby. And thereafter, they were left sitting down in casualty for nearly 6 hours before she was eventually told. And again, even at that point, there was no sense of urgency because they told her to bring him up to a ward. And on arrival at that ward, they were saying he should have been prepared for a drip from downstairs and so on. And when they tried to put him on a drip, they couldn't find any veins because by now he had become so dehydrated. The last thing that my wife saw was when, out of desperation, they went looking for veins in the neck and plunged the needle, and my son just keeled over and died. And you know, and the irony, you know, in the last hour of his life, whilst all what I've just described was taking place, I arrived at the hospital looking for my family and was repeatedly told, Mr. Grant, your son's not here. He only had a tummy upset. He's not been admitted. They suggested I check the children's section of casualty, which I did. They repeated he wasn't there. I then used a telephone in the corridor. So it was 1994. We didn't have mobile phones. I used a telephone in the corridor. And to some extent, that helped me in a way, because that was my proof. Had it been mobile phones and I rang from, there would have been, they could have denied that I came there. But because there was a record of me or a call from that phone to my home. So when I rang home, I got no reply. I went back to the main receptionist and I said, they're not at home. And they said, they're definitely not here. So I've left the hospital reassured that my family, my wife was there. My daughter was 5 at the time. My wife was pregnant with our 3rd child. So I left that hospital reassured that my family wasn't there. My son hadn't been admitted. And on my arrival home, I received a phone call from my brother-in-law, from one of my brother-in-laws, telling me that his sister was at hospital crying, the baby is not well. And I am nearly at a point of arguing with my brother-in-law to say, no, they're not there. I've just come back from there. And he said, well, he doesn't know what's going on. Maybe I should ring the hospital. So I've agreed to ring the hospital, even though I've just come back from them. So I've replaced the receiver, picked it up again, and I replaced the receiver. And before I could pick it up again, the phone rang. This time it was my wife screaming down the phone, get the hell out of the flat, the baby is not well. In that frame of mind, I slammed the phone down on her, thinking this has got to be a cruel joke being played by her and her brother, because I've just come back from that hospital. Nonetheless, I've picked up the phone immediately again. I've dialed the hospital. Now, half an hour before my son died, I was still being told, no, Mr. Grant, your son is not here. I said, look, I've just had 2 very distressing phone calls. Can you please double check? The receptionist checked the first one. I think she was quite confident that he wasn't there. And I don't blame her for anything, by the way, but she was quite confident that he wasn't there. So she checked with the first ward, and she didn't put me on hold. So as she checked, I could hear the conversations in the background and so on and so forth. And she checked the first ward, he wasn't there. She went through to a second ward, and then the next thing was the phone went silent. So I think obviously the receptionist found that my son was on this ward now. She didn't say another word to me. She put me straight through to the ward. And the next thing I heard down the phone was, oh, Mr. Grant, come quickly, your son's here, he's not well. I rushed back to the hospital to go and find my son had just died. And you know, I was met by, on finding out, I collapsed to the floor. It was my 5-year-old daughter who came and put her arms around me and said, don't cry, Daddy, at least he's gone to heaven. My 5-year-old daughter. So and 5 months after that, our fight for justice began, because 5 months after my son's tragic, untimely death, my marriage, I've been married 10 years, my 10-year marriage broke up. because my wife was blaming me for not being at the hospital. And despite the fact I was, I told her I came, they sent me away. And now I ended up in a situation where there I was trying to grieve for my son, but having to grieve for my whole family, because, as I said, for 10 years in marriage, my daughter 5 years at home with her dad, etc. And all of a sudden, my whole life has been turned upside down. And that is the birth, if you like, of Campaign for Truth and Justice. Because, and this was never about, there was never a time when financial compensation came into my mind. The only thing, my only interest was that we were issued with 2 legal aid certificates, one in our joint names with regards to negligence of my son, and the other was in my sole name with regards to false information that the hospital gave me, which subjected me to that additional trauma of, the false information, kind of, oh no, your son's fine, okay, and then later saying, no, come quickly, and then the reality of that, the worst case scenario being borne out. So the law acknowledged that I had a case against the hospital. However, as I said, the reason I wanted to bring this action against the hospital was to prove to my wife I came and they sent me away, because I wanted to reconcile my marriage. I wanted to reconcile my family. I didn't want, my children being raised without a father at home, and so on and so forth. And so, yes, this fight for justice began. And then what happened was, in my wife's grief, she kind of turned against me, and then the lawyers who were supposed to be representing us kind of they then decided to give me false information, telling me that there is no law in this country which allows me to sue for false advice. And that advice itself was false, because, again, because all I wanted was to prove to my wife that I came and they sent me away. So I started contacting the Law Society, other lawyers, contacted my MP, I started writing to members of parliament, etc., etc. The Law Society got back to me. They said there are laws against, and they gave me a case reference to bring to this firm. And then there was another firm who agreed to act on my behalf. And once they, in fact, the Legal Aid Board refused, because the previous firm refused to release the legal aid certificate. Then my MP at the time was Tessa Jowl. She wrote to the Legal Aid Board asking them to transfer the certificate to the new firm. Eventually, when that was done, the new firm, because by now I suffered a nervous breakdown at work and lost my job, I said to the new firm, I want you to include the previous firm in this lawsuit against the hospital. And at that point, they said, oh, no, you haven't got a case against the hospital. And so then their corruption started. And that is basically an intro into how we ended up with this campaign for truth and justice.
Wow, what a painful, painful story indeed. The loss, that you experience is indescribable. That your young prince, your marriage, your home, everything that you had built over those 10 years, suddenly taken away from you due to no fault of your own, but because the hospital, was just so negligent in the way that, they treated your son. Why? I mean, this is not an untypical story, family, about, us losing our children, our women dying 5 times more likely, 6 times more likely to die in the hospitals giving birth. There is something seriously wrong about the way we as a people are treated in the health sector, and the statistics bear this out. And here you're hearing live and direct, the personal testimony of someone who has been tragically, you know, treated by the health sector. I'm not saying there aren't some good stories, of course there are, but there are too many of these types of stories. But, you know, some people, they crumble up and they almost want to die, and others, you know, they come back fighting. And our brother Paul Grant, he came out fighting. I mean, his personal journey that brought him in contact with the law, you know, meant that he got to know the law, you know, what justice is all about, what justice looks like, you know, and he has gone on to help so many more people. But we'll come back to your journey, Brother Paul, as a result. Let's go around and have everyone just introduce themselves and share a story or testimony with us that has brought them to where they are today, to be on this campaign for truth and justice. So next, let's introduce Sister Cheryl, affectionately known as Chez. She is an active trade unionist. She's also been she's a campaigner locally and nationally. She supports national doctors, bus drivers, cleaners. She is out there supporting Lewisham A&E as well. She has, I know, stood to be a local councillor. She's a great supporter at Sedge Hill School. She is someone who's very active in the community. She campaigns for better housing for people. She is someone who you need to know, and someone who puts herself out for the local community and others. Welcome, welcome, Sister Chez. Please introduce yourself and share with the family.
You sure you got the right bio? No. Greetings and give thanks again, Sister Shanice, for inviting us onto your beautiful platform.
It's a community platform, family. Yes. I must say, I meant to say last time, it's a community platform. It's our audience that make this platform what it is, and wonderful guests like yourself who agree, you know, to come on the platform that make it what it is. I'm just a facilitator. But thank you. Thank you.
And also greetings again, ones and the ones that have now joined as well. Greetings to you. So yeah, my journey. First and foremost, I'm an African woman of first and foremost, and a grandmother as well. So I give thanks to my grandchildren, so beautiful. But anyway, yeah, first and foremost, that's what I am. Thereafter, I'm an activist, trade unionist. I'm also Lewisham Trades Union Council President as well, and I use that capacity in regards to things that might need to be said where others it wouldn't be taken notice of. So, for example, if something's happened within the council, around the council, or within the community, and they're not going to listen to ordinary Joe public, they have to reply back to me as the president of the Trades Union Council, because obviously they do not want strike action within the borough. So that's one of the things that don't want to go against us. So that's where I have my leverage in that sense. Also, I've done work around Sedge Hill School, which was an academy, which was going to turn into an academy. It is now. At the time, it wasn't an academy. We starved them off for about a good 5-6 years before they actually turned it into an academy. So that's one of our, that's what all of the community that came together that we done and we led with. All in regards to the other things I've done, it's just quite a bit, I must say. But I don't want to go on too much about myself because I am shy like that. But saying that, don't be smiling, Brother Paul. But saying that, you know, the reason that I became especially a trade unionist is because what was happening within my workplace. And what I had noticed, they was actually going they was going to cut pay. there was going to be changes to our terms and conditions, and the most people that affected was us, people of African heritage. And so from there, yeah, took the strike action, done it. We actually won that pay claim, and the changes to our terms and conditions was actually juiced up to what they didn't want. But yeah, they knew that we was actually standing forward. So from that's where I've moved on and to do what I was doing. And so this was way back in oh God, must have been in the late 80s. Yeah, sorry. Don't be doing any counting, anyone, all right? So yeah, so that's where my campaigning has come from. And also what happened with the New Cross massacre as well, that actually spurred me as well, seeing what's happened to those young babies, because they were babies. Okay, they weren't adults, they were babies. 14 young lives was taken, and within that, one of my closest friends, Lillian, as others will know as Rosalind, had perished in that fire, in that massacre.
You know, there may well be all people in the audience who don't know about what happened and are unaware of that tragedy. I wonder if you could just, you know, share a bit of background about that tragic incident in New Cross that you were just referring to there.
Okay, so tomorrow is going to be the 43rd year of this tragic massacre, which took place on the 18th of January 1981. And it was a Saturday. It was a birthday party for Yvonne Ruddock. She was celebrating her 16th Earthstrong. And later on during the night, there was I don't want to go too, because it is a lot for me to keep on, like, because I relive it every year, because tomorrow there's actually going to be a memorial service as well. So sorry if you can hear clinging. So yeah, so within that there was a fire that had taken place, and some people say that it was a racist attack, because within that time, Lucian was under attack completely in the 70s, in the late 70s, and up to the 80s. Lucian was under attack, even at another place called Sutherland Road in Forest Hill, where there was a fire. So it was a known thing, hence why it was connected to racism. And the NF, they had a thing about New Cross, because I grew up in New Cross. I was first and foremost from East End. You might hear a bit of Cockney coming out some here and there. So yeah, I'm originally from Mile End, and then we moved down to the south. And I'll tell you something. We lived not too far from Millwall, and as people might know, Millwall football ground is a breeding ground for racists, and that's what we had to deal with growing up within that area in regards to racism. So my time growing up as a child of the Windrush, yeah. Oh no. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. My
Okay.
something just came through. So yeah, it was some of it. I'm not gonna lie. I did actually enjoy it, full joy, those years, because we made it something. We made good out of bad. And I'll tell you something, it was a fabulous time growing up, because if we're walking down Clifton Rise, which is in New Cross, you're not having any problems. You've got people watching out for you any time of the night. You know, that was the type of community spirit we had in those days. But if you was doing something out the road as well, yeah, it's getting back to your mum before you even, your mum or your dad, before you even get home. And don't forget, there was no mobiles those days. So, you know, it was, I'm not going to say, yeah, it was really doom and gloom, but, you know, but some of those experiences actually spurred me on to do what I'm doing. And I'm going to cut to the chase now. So when I met up with Caul, I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, actually. He's led me astray. But no, you know, when I heard his story and you know, his experience and what was going on, I said, right, I'm going to put you to the test, Mr. Grant. So we had there was a seizure that we had to do. Do you remember, Caul? Lewisham Triangle.
Oh yes.
Yes, yeah,
Oh yes.
Lewisham Triangle neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
It was a club which nobody knew about within the area. Had been there for, how old is my daughter? She's 30, so 38 years it's been there. And that was dedicated to the Windrush generation.
Can I interrupt?
Yes, go for it.
Just to help you out, that was a venue given to the community by Ken Livingstone when he was mayor of London. So sorry, sister. Just wanted to emphasize that.
No, not at all, not at all. I appreciate your support there. So that's what we do. We balance out each other. So so with that, I said, I was asked, sorry, Kwesi, I am going to finish, so I sound like Paul now, don't I, going on. But somebody reached out to me because they knew of the work that I do in terms of supporting people within the community. They actually asked if I could help them get this club back into the community, back to the owners. The reason being, can somebody mute, please? Because somebody doesn't sound good. No, it's not you, Caul. I think it's Kwesi, Brother Kwesi.
Okay. Brother Kwesi, if you could put yourself on mute, please. Thank you. You mute as well.
Yeah, yeah. So this club is based in Lewisham. If I've said that already, he's not muted. You can mute him, sister.
Okay, yeah, because I think he's frozen.
Yeah, he is.
Right, and Brother Caul, if you can mute as well, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it. That's better. So so with that, somebody had, what it was, the Lewisham Council had gone after this particular club within the time of the pandemic in 2020 and literally shut the club down, boarded it up. Don't forget, as I said, this was a club for the Windrush generation, and the elders was going there using it as a you know, dominoes club, and all of those sort of activities. Yeah. Because I bet you didn't even know about it, did you, Sister Shanice? There you go. And it's been there for how much years? And we didn't know. We didn't know about it. I had to literally try and Google it. So go on, Brother Caul.
So I just want to add in, because you're doing very well, but Sister Shanice, this was a venue that was owned. It was for the African community. It had nothing to do with Lewisham. It was freehold. It was fully paid up, etc., etc. And Lewisham Council wanted to take it away from the community. So they, as Sister Chez described, they evicted. They'd been how many years did you say? Over 30 years?
Yeah, over 37 years at
the time. And they evicted those who were in there with the responsibility to look after it. They evicted them, and Sister Chez, you carry on.
Yeah. So with that, as I said, somebody had reached out to
me.
On
what grounds?
They just wanted to take hold of this property. I don't know.
Nothing, is it?
Precisely.
That's right. And what it is, this place is so prestige in terms of the amount of money that this, because we looked at the valuations of it, it's worth about 1.4 million. This is in Lewisham, you know.
Yeah.
Wow.
1.4 million.
So this committee and these elders and these individuals that we use in the community centre have been happily using it for over 30 years. Is that my internet?
I don't know. It might be something's not right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I can hear you properly now. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, good. Yeah. So this community of elders, they've been happily using this community centre for over 30 years. Suddenly, Lewisham became aware that there was a community that was coming together in a building that had nothing to do with them, that had been fully paid for, and they decided that they wanted to seize it. They decided they wanted to take that away from the community. I mean, this has been family. To those of you who are watching from abroad and wondering what's going on here, this is a story that's not too dissimilar, that we're not unfamiliar with. You know, back in the early days in the 80s, there were many community centres and organisations and buildings that was owned by Black people, by us as a community. You know, there were many venues that we could call our own, many spaces that we had as young people that we could go to, where we could run our projects from, etc. But then there seems to have been an unwritten policy across all of the councils that they would take away all of the community facilities that Black organisations and Black groups were using. And one by one, they shut them down. They don't just shut them all down overnight, because that would be too obvious. Yeah, they come up with pathetic excuses to try and justify shutting down and closing all the community organisations where Black people were coming together as a community. Because back then, you know, we were organising, and, you know, we were a formidable force to be reckoned with. You know, you talked about the New Cross massacre, the incident that happened back in the 1980s, where 13 of our young children died. It was a 16-year-old, it was a birthday party of a 16-year-old.
14, sorry, it was 14.
14, because one died afterwards.
Yeah, because he took his life off after the fact that he couldn't live with the trauma.
Wow. Just imagine, your 16-year-old, you know, your beautiful 16-year-old is having a birthday party, has invited all her friends round, you're celebrating your birthday, and some racists decide to firebomb the house where the party is taking place. This is what happened, family. 13 people died, and afterwards, one person, another one, I'll just mute you for a second as well. And then afterwards, as Sista Chez said, someone had they couldn't live with themselves and committed suicide. So in total, we lost 14 young lives. It must be my computer. So, you know, over 20,000 people turned out in protest and to demand action and an investigation. And until this day, the culprits still haven't been brought to trial. This is the sort of injustice that we're living with in Britain. Sorry, I just had to jump in there, you know, because talking about them taking away that community space, probably one of the few remaining community spaces that we've got left. But what happened once you found out about that?
So, the chairperson and the rest of the committee, there was a bit of when I discussed about, yes, I can support them and so forth, but what we are actually I'm actually thinking of doing is to seize the building with Campaign for Truth and Justice. And they was like, oh, no, you know, they was really, really reserved and didn't think, they didn't want to do this. So I said, if you don't do it, we'll do it anyway. So it's better to be in than out, right? So they then agreed that we seized the building, and that's when I called on Brother Caul and said, right, let's get this seizure started then. And he definitely did. He came with all his paperwork and everything, broad daylight. We done it. I think it was 9 o'clock in the rising. We done it, right? And we had the neighbours. They was like, oh, we're going to call the police and all the rest of it. And we said, yeah, go on then. Do you know what I mean? But we already calculated that's like about 7 minutes away from the from where we were anyway. The police station was. So if they're going to call, then we was going to be in anyway. And that's what we needed to be. We needed to be inside the building, because from once we're inside, then they have got nothing. They haven't got a leg to stand on, as it were. And yeah, we wasn't frightened. Nobody never turned up, meaning the race soldiers, they never turned up, which I call the police, which you might call the police. But yeah, we was in there, we got the building, and then lo and behold, because we didn't have anybody in there at the time, they came back and they took back the building. So he was like, oh no, we just couldn't believe it. They put people in there, they put guardians in there. But saying that, they realized, because I was in negotiations. No, actually, they knew that I was involved. When I say they, the mayor of Lewisham and also the councillors, they knew that I was involved. And they said they didn't want Cheryl McLeod to be in any of those meetings, because they knew, yeah, because they know me. They know that what sort of work that I do in the community. And also I'm the president of Lewisham Trades Union Council, right?
So just to fill in the gaps there, sorry,
Yeah.
Sister Shanice. So what happened was, because we had seized it, although they retook the building, they then called back the occupants who they had evicted to get into negotiations with them.
Yeah, I was getting there.
Yeah, to get
I was getting there.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you jumped over it.
No, not at all.
All right,
so
okay, I won't interrupt us.
No, that's fine. That's all right. I'm used to it on the radio, because we're also on Paul and I are on CTJ. Your right show, Galaxy After We, on galaxyafterwe.net. So yeah, I'm used to this on a Friday night at 6 o'clock till 8. So anyway, so even that was, they didn't want me to be in those particular meetings. I wasn't. We discussed beforehand what they would say before they will go into those meetings. And when I say they, I mean the chair and the committee. And yeah, they got the building, the building back. But they've got a lease, which they never had before. They've got a lease, and they're paying rent, which they wasn't doing before, because they was only paying council tax. So they was ready on the council's radar, but the council tried to pretend that that they wasn't, but they were, because the building was given to them. So why would they need to be paying anything? So yeah, so that's what. So those are all of the Paul, just mute a minute, please, Paul. So those are the sort of incidences that we've got to deal with within this borough, and that's made me who I am today. To seeing the injustices with my people, that happened to my people, and I said, right, okay, I would like it or lump it or work with Caul, because he's very active, and the members, Brother Motzi, Sister Liz, we've got so much, Rush Trunell, we have got so much, and also Brother Kwesi. And as you know, Brother Kwesi is with another organisation, but we always talk about unity, right? And Brother Kwesi is part of that unity. So when Caul is not available, Brother Kwesi can step in and support me, which quite happened quite recently. So we are trying to do, we are building, not trying to, we are building. So that's a bit about me without going into not doing a deep dive. So I'm going to land there, and I'm going to let Brother Kwesi come in.
Rise up, Sister Chez. Thank you so much for sharing with us about the work that you're doing, your activism. I hope some of the listeners have been inspired, and will want to learn more, so that they can also get involved in community activist work. Because, had you all stood by, that building would have been completely lost. Okay, now they're having to pay rent. You know, we don't like that because, you know, supposing they're not in a position at some point where they can afford to pay their rent. Suppose the council decides to start jacking up the rent because they want to get our people out, which is something else that they tend to do, you know. Yeah, these people are bad and wicked, man, but unless we come together and as an organized community and demand and insist, we'll end up with nothing at all because then people don't want us to have anything at all. You know, let me bring in Brother Kwesi. Thank you so much, Sista Chez, and Brother Caul for your interjection there to add as well to the story. Look, Brother Kwesi, he's part of an organization called Truth, Justice, Peace, Freedom. That's the Truth, Justice, Peace, Freedom Trust. Wow, I'm sure we all subscribe to all of that. And it is a restoration of the ancient African principles of life. And it has been necessary, he said, to restore these African principles out of the necessity from the tyranny and the victimization that the settler and his family has been subjected by here in the UK by the police force. And he said it's a police state and the judiciary, you know, they have been subjecting us to victimization and tyranny. And so this organization became necessary. And he said that being guided and protected to navigate such state abuse and terrorism, he said that we feel it's necessary to extend our experience to support others from state abuse and victimization who may otherwise not have the analysis, the experience, the guidance, nor the protection to stand such an ordeal. And so as such, the TJPF Trust, being a community organization and a nation-centered organization, is also out there doing the work to support and protect victims of state violence and state abuse. Let's bring in Brother Kwesi. Hopefully he's going to come back in a second so we can bring in Brother Kwesi. But while we wait for Brother Kwesi to come back, Brother Paul Grant, you sent me a TikTok video that I want to play. I watched it and I love it. I'm going to play it for the family. Let me just share screen and bring in this clip here. Right. So hopefully now, family, you can share. You can see my screen. Yeah. Let's go to the beginning and play this clip.
No break can be well now. No break can be well. The promised land. What do I get the promised land? If we don't really want you to get simple.
Welcome all to Campaign for Truth and Justice. Touch one, touch all.
How would you do that?
Rewind and come again. What up?
No break can be well now. No break can be well. The promised land. What do I get to the promised land? If we don't really want you to get simple.
Welcome all to Campaign for Truth and Justice. Touch one, touch all.
How would you do that?
Indeed, touch one, touch all. That is the strapline of the Campaign for Truth and Justice. What a wonderful, wonderful ad that is. Who did it? Whose handiwork was that?
That's our video, man, our video website, man. As a matter of fact, there's an updated version which includes Sista Chez as well. So
send it to me. I'll play the big up your IT man.
Yeah, he's just fantastic.
Yeah, give him a mention, give him a plug.
Yeah,
okay.
His name is Brother Patrick. He's our webmaster.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Brilliant. Get in touch with Campaign for Truth and Justice if you want young Patrick to do some works for you too. Oh, so we have been rejoined by Papa Kwesi. Good to have you back, beloved. You seem to be sticking, your internet's got you sticking a little bit, but let's hope that we can hear from you. Brother Kwesi, welcome back. No, don't look like we got to hear from Brother Kwesi just now.
Yeah,
Okay, let me
very,
come
very-
back to Brother Kwesi. Let me go over to the chat and welcome some of our family who are in the house. Oh,
Yes.
got you.
Yes.
Yeah, man, got you, Brother Kwesi.
Sure. Yes. Thank you, Shanice. Yes.
The network connection is so poor, Brother Kwesi. We're unable to hear you. Try again.
Okay. All right. Sorry, I thought you said you was
Better.
gonna go through the family now. Yes. Just like similar to us, Paul and
Chopping up again, Kwesi.
Chez
Kwesi.
describe, all this comes down to is oppression.
Brother Kwesi, can I suggest that you turn off your video and let's hear you through the audio? I think the video's taking up too much bandwidth where you are. Okay, go ahead and talk. Let's see if we can hear you. It's gone completely, I think. Yeah, it's dropped off completely now. But
yeah. Well, that's a
hopefully
shame.
our brother will be back again. Okay, let me go over to the chat. Welcome the audience, family. You've been hearing the testimonies, you've been hearing the stories. Let me welcome Brother Kofi in the house. Let's welcome Brother Kimani again. Sister Verna's in the house, watching from the UK, from the cold England. Oh, such a shame. Brother X, we've got Italy in the house as well, saying greetings, peace and blessings, everyone. Tuning in for another interesting discussion. Give thanks, Sister Shanice, watching from cold Brooklyn, New York. Woo! Look, one tour on these cold places. Look at Sister Chez in our big jungle.
In my thermals, and I've got the heating on, and I've got
oh no, have you got a heating on as
I've
well?
got my central heating on, and I've still got a heater on as well. So I've got two heaters going. Yeah.
And it's cold. That's how
Yeah.
cold it is back there. Oh no,
Yeah.
sorry to hear that.
That's
Wow.
all right. Stop it.
Watching the Hawks is in the house. Mutsi Imwe is in the house. Rise up, rise up. Khadija T is in the house saying greetings all. Brings tears to my eyes to hear Brother Paul's son story. Indeed. Wow. Brother Burnett is in the house as well, rising up the family, listening in from St. Lucia. Yeah, you hear one? Yeah. And reporting them over there, of course, on top of all of the racism and all of what they've got to deal with, they got the cold weather as well. What a thing. KW's in the house. Brother Kwame Abache is in the house. Yes, Sean, welcome, sending greetings to all the Al-Kabalans. Saying it's been some time, locked in from California, but originally from St. Kitts and Nevis. Welcome. Great to have you in the house, Yashon. Rise up, Brother Kwame, Boche again. Dee Dee's in the house, Patricia's in the house, saying greetings, Sister Shanice. Hail up, Sister Chez, Brother Caul and Brother Kwesi. Greetings from Garvey Village Directors. Rise up, Patricia. Great to have you in the house as well. Brother Richmond's in the house. Rise up. Brother Ossie, Christy is in the house as well. Where are you watching us from? Telling you to keep strong, Brother Caul, with such tenacity and fortitude. Yes, loving your fighting spirit. This is the spirit that we need in our community. You're going to hear more from Brother Caul Grant and Sister Chez. This is the fighting spirit that we need. I want to rise up a queen in the house as well from the UK, Sister Nzinga Asata, another fighter in the house, saying greetings, family. One of our biggest problems is that we love talking and identifying the problems, issues, but so many in the community don't want to step forward to take on their share of the work. True talk is one thing. We'll talk about the problem, but we have to take action. The good thing I can say is the Youth Campaign for Truth and Justice, they are an action-based community organization. Yeah, if there's a demonstration, they're there flying the flag. If somebody's in problem, they're there ready to help. Action speaks louder than words. Rise up, Queen Nzinga, a fighter in our community. You know, has been fighting for about 50 decades and still fighting. 50, 60 decades and still fighting and going on strong. Much more can all of us, how much more can all of us be doing? Etienne is saying, rest in peace to all the souls of those innocent ones that were taken from us, you know, and that justice, and she's willing that justice prevails. We have to keep on fighting so that justice will prevail. Indeed. Conga Lion, Conga Leon, good to have you in the house as well. Touch one, touch all. Welcome in the African Revolution for 2024. Asheo, he said, Shaka Anderson in the house from South London, poor South London, sorry to hear that. You know, rising up, everybody's in the house. Okay, our beloved brother, I think he came in and then he dropped back out again. You know, he's trying to log back on. Let's see if we can hear him just via the audio, because I see he's in the house. Brother Kwesi.
Yes, Sister Shanice, can you hear me better now?
Yeah.
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear now. The video was taking up too much bandwidth. Make we hear. We hear from Brother Caul. We hear from Sista Chez. No, I got hear from you. What you say?
Sure. Yes, indeed. And as I was saying, just as Caul and Chez expressed, what it amounts us to is us being oppressed and assets being stolen from us. And it's not only in this country, it's around the globe, even in our native lands. And the common theme as well is due to the injustices that we've all suffered at some point, which has compelled us to say that something is not right here, let's do something about it, which my story comes in. Suffered a series of injustices. I had a profession, partly due to my name as well. You know, I remember when I was young, growing up, you know, in Afflexes and whatnot, they always used to inquire whether I was related to Nkrumah. So as I grew up and actually in a profession, and they actually knew I was a certain way inclined, I actually became a target for them. And not just me, it eventually led to my family. So through the targeting, I thought, hold on, the law is very important here because the law governs more or less everything. So that means those that manipulate and control the law actually have control. So it's important for us to know the law, hence why the principles truth, justice, peace, freedom, trust. Because if there's truth, there's going to be justice. I mean, when you even go to court, what do you swear on? You swear to speak the truth, isn't it? The truth is, the truth is fundamental. So through the truth, and if there's justice, because justice means fairness, and if there's fairness, then there's going to be peace amongst us. There wouldn't be a necessity for wars. And if there is there's peace, then ultimately there's freedom, because then we feel free to live as we wish. And these are the principles, and these are actually part of a set of ancient African principles. As we say, if we are the originators of civilization, all these things come from us. So part of this trust is like Sankofa, restoring our ancient principles. And so through that, we can navigate our way into our, let's say, our liberation or evolution or revolution. Now, some of the injustices are suffered. Apart from motor incidents, I'll go more on a fairly recent one that happened, which is basically they imprisoned me without, when the judge had actually removed me from court. Now, would you believe this? You have to be in court to hear your case. So how can a judge remove you from the court, and it's only a traffic matter, judge the case in your absence and make a disqualification against you? So the next time you're traveling on road, they just pick you up and then imprison you for driving while it's disqualified. Oh, on remand as well. What exactly? These were excessive. So when the last time that happened, I filed something called a habeas corpus, which Caul and all that is aware of, which is a remedy that whoever is holding you to actually bring you to court and justify the reason for holding you. Now, whilst that had been going on, all this subjugation and oppression that I was going through in my family, I actually got wise and learned to notify all the heads of the state. So the Justice Secretary was aware. I had emails going to Parliament. So on the last habeas corpus, I actually included the Justice Secretary, which was David Gore back then, which is undoable. You know, I think outside the box, because I'm thinking the law of the country or the justice system is under you. So if you're allowing this corruption to go on, then you're responsible for it, as well as being responsible for my unlawful imprisonment. And now, kid you not, that is why he resigned. Go and look. David Gore resigned, I think, 23rd of July 2019. My habeas corpus was presented to the High Court on the 22nd of July. But they made it out that, oh, it was for other reasons that he resigned. Because there was no way he could face, and there was no way he could win. Because I was lawfully imprisoned. Because I cannot be removed from court and the case judge in my absence. And then that's unlawful. And that's, you know, that's a travesty. You know, that's abuse of the process. And meanwhile, his office was aware. So that was the big thing. So he resigned. And then from then I said, well, since they failed to apply the law properly, then we have a right to our own remedy. So even with that anomaly as well, and there's a few cases I won against the justice system. For instance, I don't know if you was aware, there was a time they brought it out that even if you've been in prison for a day, you have to have probation for a whole year. Now that doesn't add up exactly. This is what I'm saying about these people are oppressing us all the time. We hear about the large numbers of us incarcerated, not alone now. So then who's to say after a while, they may not move that year to 5 years. And before you know, once you've been, let's say, incarcerated or they've maliciously imprisoned you, you now have an obligation to report to them, let's say, for the rest of your life, such as they do with other sentences. So I said, no, that's not lawful. So I wasn't going to comply. And one thing I also learned, because of the injustice I went through, it made me learn to self-teach myself the law. And it's important. And one thing I realized is they've actually complicated the law. The law is quite simple and it's common sense. However, they've complicated it to keep it amongst the few that they think they're educated, so that they can then abuse it and suppress the less educated. Just like in slavery times when they wouldn't allow us to learn to read, so that they could keep the knowledge amongst a certain people and then have to control. So one thing I learned was that was not justified. So with that, how I beat that as well was when you're leaving prison, they have something they give to you as a license. And what, again, who gives it power? You do. So you sign to it. And I'm going to use this opportunity, and this is globally the law. Everything that happens to us, we give consent. For instance, the government, if you don't vote for them, how would they get in power? So if you all stayed at home, they wouldn't have the power. So we've been deceived. And that's why deception and illusion is the biggest thing. We've been deceived and eluded. And I'll commend everyone to also watch the Crown series. We've been deceived to give away our natural giving powers to a few people who then abuse it against us. So, and whenever that abuse takes place, we must learn to take it back from them and say, okay, we entrusted you and you've abused that trust. So going back to the prison license thing, as I said, you give it power. So I sign it, and I'm going to teach you with, you can put it in Latin, vico actus, or you can write in English, under duress. So everything that happens to us, we consent to it. So if you put under duress or whatever on it, they cannot present that to a court, because for them to prosecute you for disobeying the license, they have to supply the documents that you signed to the court, because that's the evidence that you're licensed. They cannot just go to court in hearsay. So whenever I had that vehicle access order, what's it on there, they will actually commit a crime and redact that statement or signature from the document. But you got to have the original that you put it on, because they may send that to the court and just say, oh, you didn't sign for it. So whenever they couldn't present that, because then I'll have them on fraud, because that means they've adapted the document. So they lost the case the first time. Actually, the very first time I lost it at the magistrate's court, and then I beat them at the Crown Court. The probation officer didn't even turn up. And then the second time, that was over the COVID period, and they kept adjourning it until they said, oh, there's no need now. So twice I beat them on that, on the license prison. And that's why they had to stage the London Bridge attack to now say that people that have been violent, they have to apply to be released. So then now, if you apply for something, then you're going to give consent to the conditions, isn't it? Yeah, if you're applying for something, like if you apply for a driver's license and they say they need a photo, you've got to provide the photo to meet the conditions to get it. So if you're applying for something, they can set any conditions for you to agree to. But these are some of the simple things. But the habeas corpus is a very powerful tool. Now, what happened as well is they didn't even file it. And I can relate to Brother Caul's. Actually, you do find out there's similarities between most of the oppressive stories. When I filed the habeas corpus, my partner at the time was going to America the following day. That's what I said. It was, I remember it was her birthday, 22nd July, when she took it to the court. They told her, but I was clever. I posted one and I gave one to her to take to the court because I knew what they would do. When she took it to the court, they said, oh, they can't process it. And she had to leave. But what they did was they sabotaged communication between us from then. Because when she went to America and came back, the prison, and she came to the prison to visit me, they said I wasn't in the prison. Could you imagine this? A whole prison saying they don't know where I am. And I remember the prison officer actually looking around, because I didn't know the visit was happening then, but looking around and said, oh, you're here. They moved me wing, but wherever it is, I was there. The other part was, then I had a court hearing in between that sentence. I went to the court. She turned up, but as soon as she was there, because it's all about isolation. They went, we're going to adjourn the case to 1 o'clock, right? And then so she's gone, because they didn't hear it straight away, they adjourned it. And for some reason as well, they attacked her. And these people, let's not, like it's happened to presidents, depending on what level you get to, these people are lethal and will attack, as in destroy, kill. Whatever happened when she was in America, the day after she took the the habeas corpus to the High Court, somehow she couldn't walk. So she had to be in a wheelchair to go to America. Somehow she got better. Coming back, she got ill again and she couldn't see. Or walk for, yes. So she even had to go to hospital when she came back as well. Now, when she managed, so the time we had a court hearing, she couldn't even see. But because I remember I waved at her at the court and she didn't really reply. And I was like, what's going on? And I hadn't heard from her as well since she came back until the court hearing. Anyway, they adjourned it to 1. But then they brought me back up at 12. So when she came back at 1, basically, I'd been dealt with and she couldn't see me. This is how these people play. Anyway, and I didn't receive, and then as I said, she came to the prison as well. I was told she came with my children, my 2 boys. They said I wasn't there. They didn't know where I was. She went out crying. So one day I got mad and I told the prison the SO that I'm not banging up until I get a call, because I've not had a call for so long because my calls were blocked, and no, I have no contact with my family. Anyway, I managed to get through because I knew the number off by heart, and from what she had told me, I knew it was dangerous. So I said, you know what, leave everything. I know these people. When I come out, I'll deal with them. Meanwhile, David Gork had resigned because I made him a party on the habeas corpus because I didn't care. I made a judge a party. I just went all out. Anyway, came out and I rang the court, the high court, and conveniently, like, oh, we found your application. Because I posted one and gave one to her, isn't it? So the one they refused was the one she had in hand. And then they said, we found your application. Then they said they will not renew it and I should go to the Supreme Court, which was really is like send you away, is long. They're just trying to send you off. So I've been to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court tells me no, the High Court has to renew it for our oral hearing. Anyway, well, no word of a lie, I eventually pressed on. When I had it renewed at the High Court, no single representative of the government attended. It was just me and the judge. So now basically the judge was representing the state. And then all he could say was, well, you're out now, there's no need. But that's not true. Because even if I'm out now, there are conditions, and if I had been unlawfully incarcerated, that decision should be reversed. So he said that that then gave me the right to appeal to the Supreme Court. But as they make the rules, because they don't want you to, it's like safe gates for them. They tell you need permission to appeal. But I did not need permission to appeal because it was a criminal case. But they say, oh, once you file a habeas corpus, it becomes a civil matter. So you need permission to appeal. Anyway, I appealed to the Supreme Court. Lo and behold, conveniently, the time my application went in, I think, no, it was before COVID. But conveniently, the Supreme Court did not make any decision for about 4 months on no cases. And eventually, I think later on in the year, they came up with there's no arguable point in law. So then I wrote to the Supreme Court and said, well, please disclose to me the papers that was put in front of the judges for them to make that decision. And you can check it. I think it was December or November 2019, the Supreme Court judgments, or January 2020, around there. But if you type my name in, Kwesi Nkrumah and Supreme Court, the result will come up. So then that means they were corrupt. So now I had evidence that the courts are corrupt from the bottom magistrates' courts right up to the Supreme Court. And this made them mad. And I knew it. And that is when they planned to come for my family, my children. So there was an incident and they claimed they somehow gained access to the house we lived in. And they claimed shea butter was drugs. It was Class A drugs. But the funny thing is, at the scene, they were saying it's Class A, which is cocaine and all of that. At the police station, they were saying amphetamines, which is Class B, which is what? Anyway, because I had enough experience, and again, a lesson I give everybody, not every country has it, but certainly in the UK, and I used to tell the police all the time, they say there's corruption. I used to tell the police over 80% of them are corrupt. And I can justify it because of evidence that I have against them, especially the Metropolitan Police. So I said, I told them to put on a video cam. Always use the evidence. So that's a lesson for whenever police stop you, tell them to put on their video cam because that's an evidence to protect yourself because these people fabricate and change everything. And if you later request for a copy of that video cam and also say on there that you want it kept as evidence, they've got times that they keep it. They can be kept for infinite. Do that because that will protect you. So from that, so when he said Class A drugs, because they had got into the house, and before I even approached the house, they came and arrested me. And that wasn't even, yes, that was my family's house, but it wasn't my registered house. Anyway, it went to, it couldn't even go to court. But they used that to take our children because when my partner, as soon as arrived, she got arrested as well, yes. And normally, if children are taken, they have to be given to like a family member or something. But they did, and there were people present. They didn't do that. They took him straight away. But obviously, I expected that because from when I'm showing the Supreme Court is corrupt, and I'm telling them to disclose, which they never disclose. I told them to disclose the papers that put in front of the judge. They didn't even respond to me up to today. That's how corrupt they are. So eventually, with the children's case, got them back, didn't comply with social services. And through these experiences, I said to myself, well, others, obviously, and then from that, actually, I started seeing how others had been suffering against similar cases, not any different to the banker that the police arrested for firearms and all of that. So when I hear those stories, I know how they go about it, and I can actually help all these people. Because when you use solicitors, what they do is they do damage limitation, they do deals in the back, and actually you don't get the full truth and the true facts. Like Mark Duggan, the family didn't see the actual videos. They kept it between the lawyers. This is why it's important, like ourselves and CTJ, what we do, which is we deal with them direct. So everything comes with us and they can't deal with us. Remember, all that is built on a fiction. Legality is a fiction. If you study the law, legality is a fiction. So when you face a real human being and you're right, ready to stand up for your rights, it is a different ball game. But you just got to have some knowledge, which is what we've self-taught. And basically, this was our journey. And this is why, from the experience we went through, we decided to help others. And we've actually successfully helped others get their families back or get involved in cases, be drug cases, because basically we are under oppression. But we've got a bigger objective than that, which is actually to nation build and actually have a system that we're ready to govern ourselves, because governance is by consent. So if these people have been oppressing us, we have our right to our independence, and we have a right to be given assets to be able to govern ourselves. Just like when countries got independence, they had to be given certain amount for them to function, and then we govern ourselves. But the question is, are we ready to govern ourselves?
Are we ready? That's a brilliant question. Are we ready to govern ourselves? That's such an important question, Brother Kwesi. Thank you so much for sharing with us your activism as well. And you see what we have to go through in this country.
Yes.
You know, they have the law in place. And so when we decide to use the law, they come after us for using the law.
Yes.
Try to destroy our lives, take away our children, lock us up and imprison us. You know, it's a wicked system, system. And
breaking of families. Breaking of families is key.
Families as well, and especially Black families. You know, that is also the heart of what they try to do. Let me try and see if we've got enough time to go around again. The time is absolutely whizzing by. It's already 20 minutes past 9, so we've got 40 minutes left. And it's just flown by. So hopefully we'll get a chance to get back round to everybody. Maybe if we say like 10 minutes each. Brother Caul Grant, I mean, you shared with us the story that, you know, the tragic events that led to you getting involved in setting up Campaign for Truth and Justice. Give us a flavor of, you know, the sort of activities that you've had to get involved in, you know, since, you know, setting up Campaign for Truth and Justice, you know, the campaigns, the people that you supported, you know, what are the works that you're actually doing? And if people want to get involved and support in any way, tell us how they might be able to do that, please. Okay,
so I'm just, because I'm going to start from where we were just today, actually, with so you see Sister Chez is smiling because when you mentioned earlier about the fact that we're an organization that we act. We don't just sit down and talk and say this and say that. We don't just say the law should do this and the law should do that. Because we have been wronged without a remedy, the law gives us the right to take a remedy. So as a result of the wrong...
But find our own remedy.
Sorry?
Find our own remedy.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I said. We can take. And so, for instance, before we had to rush back from a seizure. Earlier on, we were in, was it North London? Where we went and seized a massive building, which in fact, whilst I was on it, I had to just cut them off the phone because I just received a call from a couple of the brothers who we left in charge of this premises, which we've seized. So basically, as a result of the wrongs that the establishment, the state, because they had me, and we can't leave this bit out. They had me wrongfully locked up in prison for 6 years without any due process of law. And to give you an idea of how serious this matter was, whilst in prison for 6 years, I received 3 letters from Buckingham Palace written on behalf of the Queen. That's how serious this matter is. And obviously, if I was talking nonsense, if what I'm presenting on this beautiful platform was a load of nonsense, Buckingham Palace would not have been writing to me on behalf of the Queen whilst I was a so-called convicted prisoner in prison. But because the authorities, the Crown Prosecution, the judiciary, the Metropolitan, because we've got documented evidence of state law breaking. That's why in that short video that you just played, that beautiful, done by our web designer, the law says no lawbreaker can be a law enforcer. That's not something that was dreamt up by me. The law says if I don't protect you, I can't seek to punish you for protecting yourself or any actions that you make. And that is found in Article 7 of the Human Rights Act, 1998. It says no punishment without law, no lawbreaker can be a law enforcer. Now, as I said, because we have documented evidence of law breaking committed by the Metropolitan Police Force, the Crown Prosecution, and most importantly, the judiciary, that means that they can't sit in judgment of any of us, not just me or Sister Chez or Brother Kwesi, any of us. No lawbreaker can. And that basic principle is founded, as a matter of fact, and I'm not preaching now, but I say my first law book was that Bible that they gave me to swear on in court. That was the first law book I used on them in court, because in that book it says, how dare you sit there with those huge planks in your own eyes whilst questioning others about the speck of sawdust in theirs. First, remove those planks. In other words, no lawbreaker can be a law enforcer. And another element in there, it says, do not deny the poor and needy justice simply because they are poor and needy, or I will take up their cause and plunder you. And this is what they are facing. As a matter of fact, to give an example, last strong Friday, we were supposed to be in court. I was supposed to be in court. And this matter has been going on since May of last year. And the hearing started in December, and it adjourned because they ran out of time. Now, we were supposed to go back on the 12th of January for me to give my end of the story. Now, 5:30 on the Thursday evening, they emailed me to say that the matter has been adjourned, no need to turn up, etc., etc., etc. So they have a huge problem with, they literally, they've pushed me outside the protection of law, and all members of Campaign for Truth and Justice outside the protection of law, and made us, if you like, so that we have to fight to get in, even in the criminal courts. Even in the criminal courts. Normally they would have us dragging, screaming, no, I didn't do it, please, 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 etc. But now we're having to, they're slamming their doors in our faces. And I mean, as beautiful as this platform is, we would probably need a lot more time to explain the full extent. As Sister Chez already mentioned, just for your listeners, I know that because I was listening to you earlier on today there as well, on Galaxy. So we do have a Know Your Rights show on GalaxyAfui.net radio station. That's every Friday between 6 and 8, where we will talk about, it's an interactive show where we'll talk about the law. We'll talk about, anyone from the community can phone up if they're facing issues that we might be able to assist with, and so on. And because, as Brother Kwesi pointed out, over the years, I've taken the 6 years that they had me locked up in prison. I took that time to read the law. I took that. It was ironic because I had one day I was appearing in court and I complained. I said, I don't get much time to in the prison library, and they won't allow me to bring any of the law books back to my cell. And I had this beautiful brother, Ahmed Balagan, who was sending me in law books, but the prison authorities wouldn't allow me to have them. So when I was at court, I complained. I said, I don't get all this time. And then the judge said, okay. And I promise you, he wasn't trying to be helpful. He was just trying to be ironic and sarcastic. And so he said, okay, I'm going to give an order that the prison authorities give you access to your law books. So that evening, when they returned me to prison, the governor handed me the law books that he had already received. And thereafter, my friend just kept sending me in law books. And they had me housed in a single cell. My cell looked like a law library. So when I was banged up behind the doors, instead of me serving time, I made time serve me. And now we are able to use the knowledge that we acquired to help our community. And so we literally up and down the country, whether it be Southampton, whether it be Portsmouth, whether it be Liverpool, whether it be Coventry, whether it be right here in London, we are assisting people in court, getting cases, having cases thrown out. You know, it doesn't matter what the charge. And we say, as a result of the position that we find ourselves in, this beautiful position we find ourselves in, we made it up on principle. There are 3 types of cases or 3 types of allegations which we will not assist with. Only because if you like, the law shouldn't discriminate, but we chose to discriminate on moral grounds. So if someone is accused of harm to children and they approached us, we wouldn't be interested. We would decline to help. If someone is accused of rape, no matter how innocent they are, we would not assist. And the other one, which Sista Chez said, organ harvesting. Yeah. So those 3 types of allegations we won't touch, because the reality is, no matter what it is, we can get you off. And we wouldn't want to know that we got someone off a charge of doing harm to a child or raping and so on. You know, that we couldn't sleep with a conscience, couldn't function. But as I said, although the law should not discriminate, we chose to discriminate against those 3 types of allegations. But anything else, we'll assist you, and we can promise you that the matter, no matter how long they drag it out, it will eventually be dismissed or withdrawn. And in that video, you showed there, Sister Shanice, when the sister was talking about campaign, the picture behind that was my son. And I think, the authorities tried to bring a case against him. No, they brought a case against him, accusing him of assault on a what they call it, emergency worker. And I think they decided to go ahead with that case, despite the fact that they had no evidence. When they arrested my son on that allegation, they arrested him, they arrested his sister, they arrested his mother, they arrested myself, they seized my eldest daughter's car, and when the case against me and my daughter, because I told my son to take his case to a Crown Court, when the case against me and my daughter, this was where an incident where I ended up smashing up the court doors and whatnot. Anyway, the cases was stopped. They didn't progress with it against me and my daughter. Then they had dropped they didn't charge their mother, so they didn't pursue anything against her. But they tried to pursue this matter against my son. Now, they took it all the way to the point where they literally swore in a jury. So they swore in a jury on a Thursday morning and adjourned them, retired them to come back to start trial on the Friday morning. And then the Friday morning, they the prosecution said they wanted to, adjournment because I think they wanted to get some additional evidence or whatnot, etc. And the judge refused. So then they said, well, on that basis, then they're going to have to withdraw their case. I mean, this was all part of the plan, you know. And so then they called in the jury and they said, ladies and members of jury, ladies and gentlemen, because you've already been sworn in, the prosecution have withdrawn the case, but because you've been sworn in, this defendant is at your liberty or whatever. So you have to return a verdict of not guilty. So they just went through the formalities to try and make out to the community that, hold on, but they're prosecuting Brother Caul's son. So what does Brother Caul mean they won't prosecute anyone, but they're prosecuting his son? But they knew they were going to do that. They knew that they were going to take it to as far as they could. But right now, as a matter of fact, just today, I've received an email from the lawyer who's representing my son. And she's also representing me on a claim for false arrest or unlawful arrest by the police. Just today, I received the first email from last year. So yeah, where we are today, we're using our experience, as Brother Kwesi mentioned. We're using our experience and the knowledge we've acquired over the time to use the law to turn it back round on them, and to hold them to account. And, you know, again, a couple of things, because when after my son's death, and this is the sort of thing that our people have to put up with in this country here. And this is someone 62 years of age, just December gone. And so all of my life in this country, still we are met with this racism and discrimination. After my son's death, we were met by a Professor Price at King's College Hospital. And what he said to me was that, you know, because they were trying to find my son vein, and because my son was black, that made it harder to find his veins. That's what this doctor said. And then the independent medical experts that was paid for through legal aid told us that's absolute nonsense. No matter what color you are, when you become dehydrated, your veins collapse. And because they had my son sitting in casualty for nearly 6 hours without fluids and no attention, that's what happened to his veins. They'd become, because and ironically, when my wife arrived, she had a carton of Ribena. And they told her, as they do when we come into casualty, nil by mouth. So they wouldn't even allow her to let him drink the Ribena. And he died of the dehydration. But again, just to bring things into perspective, look at what the short period of time, and I'm not saying their suffering is any less or whatever, etc., but the post office scandal, and see how they've come out and they've automatically, and everybody, the Prime Minister, they've moved mountains. I think, Brother Kwesi, you have a take on this, which I think probably is quite right to take on board, because we know that what background the Prime Minister is, and we know the background of most of these post office workers, and he's moved mountains to make sure that each person is on a guaranteed minimum £600,000 compensation for their suffering. Some of them 2 years in prison or whatever, etc., etc. And it's not up to 600,000. It's a minimum of 600, and they're even going to pay them in advance and get them to sign a consent form to say that if after investigation it turns out you weren't entitled to this, you'll have to pay it back and you'll probably be prosecuted. So they're just gonna give them the compensation. But we again, whose show did I hear it on? Was
I mean,
who
some of
showed?
us may not be aware of what that post office case was all about. So in like 30 seconds, are you able to just
So in like so basically a load of postmasters and postmistresses were all accused of fraudulently taking money from the post office, and some of them went to prison and so on. They were convicted. Some of them lost their homes and so on and so forth. And then it turned out it was the machinery or the equipment or the computers that they were using, and it was all wrong. So there was about nearly 600 of them, and they've only dealt with about 30 cases that have been the courts have cleared. So what the Prime Minister has decided, he brought in a law so that the rest of them don't have to go through the usual court of an appeal and so on. He's just going to quash all the convictions himself, and by the end of this year, they will all receive their compensation.
imagine? And him now say nothing but Windrush.
I
Eh?
see it there.
Look at Windrush.
See it
You
there.
know, so deserving. I mean, people have died, you know, waiting for their compensation for the wrongs that they experienced under
There you
the
go.
Windrush legislation.
There you
Wow.
go.
I mean, the injustices, I mean, we could be talking all night, couldn't we, really? Because,
Indeed.
and we've just really, we haven't even begun to scratch the surface.
No.
There's so much more. I know, it's how time just flies. Let me just bring in the audience here for a couple of minutes. Someone did post that, what, only 15 likes? Thumbs up. Come on, family, you can do better than that. Give us some thumbs up, give us some likes, okay? That's not too much to ask, is it? Thank you so much in advance for that. Kwame Aboje is saying he's not surprised, you know, that those demons have been covering up vital evidence. Kwame Ossie says, hi, brother Kwame. Yeah, they're greeting each other there. To say, okay, let me scroll up and see if we've got any questions in the house. Rise up, Jack Iron in the house. Jack Iron's another Big G Galaxy, our theory presenter. Good to have you in the house, my brother. If you want to post when your shows are, feel welcome to do so. He's saying divine rising sisters and brothers, abundance and appreciations. Please share this. Is how we grow. Each one teach one, each one reach one. More vodum, power, angst, black at you, beloved. You know, it's so true. Each one teach one. We've been hearing from Brother Caul, Sista Chez, and Brother Kwesi, how they have been able to challenge the system, how they're helping others, you know, who are victims of abuse and terrorism by the system as well, how they're helping them to fight and to win their cases, you know. And let's not wait until, you know, the abuse is knocking on our door before we decide to get involved in the struggle. And Sister Nzinga was saying, too much people just want to sit and talk about problems and not get involved in the fight. You know, here we have 3 members of our community, and there's so many more out there who are out there fighting, not just for their own personal cases, but for you, the community. You heard Brother Caul Grant said, you know, if he gets calls and you're in Southampton, in Liverpool, Bermondsey, wherever you are, they are there to support you. Okay, so we need to grow the team. We need to build the team. We need more of us getting an understanding of what needs to be done in order to fight and challenge the system. The more of us challenging the system, the more of us claiming compensation from the system, until we drain out the public purse to the extent where they feel, you know what, we better start fix up when it comes to dealing with this community, because they're moving seriously now. You know, they are draining us through the compensation scheme that they are entitled to access because of the injustices that we've suffered. So rise up, everybody. I agree. Justice, especially for the New Cross massacre 43 years ago. Wow, must be reopened. Most definitely. We've got Leader Bandako who's going to be coming and talking about that. We've got a question here for Kwame Ossie regarding the government's compensation scheme for those who have suffered adverse effects from the can't even talk it, otherwise they'll just cut off, you know, they'll take down the video straight away. But yeah, there is a compensation scheme there. There is a government compensation scheme. for those who have been adversely impacted from their you know what I'm talking about, yeah? I've had about 10 videos taken down already off this channel where we've been talking about that issue. So this is what they do, you know, just to control, you know, and just to control the narrative. They don't like what you're saying. This is it. All the videos just get taken down. All the great information that people are sharing, it gets lost because of one or two sentences that have been uttered. Kemet Torah, good to have you in the house as well, saying that I had the same experience with Croydon Social Services with myself and my children. I was wrongly accused. I was forced into a mental facility in Croydon. It was horrific, and I still feel some way about that abuse. I mean, can one of you respond to the sister or the brother in response to that?
You know, sorry, I jumped in there because that when they section you in this country, it is probably the only time that you have no rights at all. You know, because when from the moment they section you, and because they say this is the diagnosis or whatever, they can then start injecting you and so on and so forth. So it is the worst place it's the worst thing that can happen to any of us. And sometimes
a lot of us, because we are overrepresented in their mental institutions.
Absolutely.
Once they get those institutions, you ain't coming out the same again. Them juke you up and juke you up, you know. It's a terrible thing. And you know, this person here was saying that they were wrongly accused, and then probably, you know, trying to fight for their to convince them of their innocence, landed them in a mental institution. Taking your children away is going to cause trauma. I mean, what rights do they have now that it has transpired that they're wrongly accused? Do they have any rights? Let me hear from you, Brother Caul, Brother Kwesi, or Sister Chez.
Yes, this is what we're there for, and this is what I was saying. I assist people with, or we assist people with our experience. So if that sister person can get in touch, they're due to remedies. What you have to do, and I help people, you know, be drugs cases, be children's cases, because what's the first part of the trust? Truth. Because once you know how to seek or get the truth, they cannot face you, and they have to let go of everything and restore everything. So that sister, they can get the children back. Sorry?
How do they reach you? How do they get in touch?
Email. I don't know. I can put it in the chat here, and you can give it.
Please put your email address in the chat. And Kemet Torah, please do get in touch with our brother Kwesi. Family, if you've got any more of those sorts of questions, you know, if you've experienced the long arm or the short arm of the law, you've been wrongly accused, imprisoned, you know, unjustly treated.
Yes. I didn't say that at that part of my story, but there was once that I've actually, so basically they tried to take the children January. Oh, sorry, I'm out and it's noisy.
Okay, we just lost our brother there again. He said he's out. Sheriff S, welcome. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying they tried to take the children in January 11th, 2021, and it seems every year they were up to something to try and displace me, because as they did with that woman, once you challenge them, if you're not fortified strong, they will try and put you away, so that then they victimize you and suppress you, and basically that it's called ruin your life. So the following year, they arrested me for trying to say impersonating police. And through that, they actually did try to sanction me. But we beat, and yet we beat that case because I was so clever. So at the station, I'm telling them what is going on. So when they realized they couldn't get away with it, because I put certain questions to them that they knew was going to be silly if we went to court. So the way around it to justify the arresting was to section me. And then they even brought the people, and they sat in front of me, and all I was thinking in my head is, if you lot take me to a hospital, I will stay calm, but I'll find a way to put the needles in them rather than in me. So I think they called my partner and she went, no, he's all right. He took the children to school this morning. So what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
actually came to tell me in the cell that we made a decision. We've sectioned you for 21 days. And I said, okay, we'll wait for it. They took me to court. I got myself bail and I even won that case as well.
Wow. So when they're targeting you, when they're coming to you, you know, challenging their system, they don't like people challenging their system, so they will come
Definitely
after
not.
you. Let's shares. You know, we're really winding down. We're in the last few minutes of the show. Sister Shares.
Yes. So, well, since the Windrush scandal broke, and they gave us a Windrush Day, as it were. Things still haven't changed for us. The Windrush generation that's left here, we've got deportations, we've got detention centres. That's within the divided kingdom, I call it, which you know it has the United Kingdom. Okay. It's been over what 450 years since our ancestors were enslaved, and so we've had little seesaw or desist on our oppression, has melanated ones and ones. No other group has suffered the hell, the mistreatment that we have with no reprieve or restitution. So yeah, I do acknowledge in regards to the Jewish Holocaust. Okay, it was absolutely devastating, but like that lasted for what, 5 years. Ours still carries on today. Our melanated Holocaust.
Hell of a course.
Yes. Which lasted for centuries, still continues today. So I'm not trying to do any oppression Olympics, okay, to say whose is worse than the other, because there's no comparison to what's happened to our ones and ones. So this is why I do what I do, because racism is a thing that it's like radiation. You can't taste it, you can't smell it or feel it, but it will kill you. And this is what's happened to those young babies who died, who was murdered 43 years ago. So as I keep on saying, I have to continue doing what I do. My journey, I don't know how long my journey will be in this country, because I'm planning not to stay here. I've just come back from JA, and I tell you something, it is cold. I've never felt the cold so much, where I've got 2 heaters going and a thick woolly thing. It's like, what the hell's going on there? But yeah, I will do as much as I can do. And I want to hand over to the youngers as well. I'm also a housing campaigner. And as you quite rightly say, in regards to our community, in England as a whole, Birmingham has got the first highest concentration of African and African Caribbean people. Then it is Croydon, then it's Lewisham. So we come third in the whole of England. And I'm not making this up. You can look on the census and you can see this, okay? That was the last census that was done. We've been looking out for, when I say we, Catford Against Social Cleansing, we have been looking out for the latest census in regards to the demographics of our people, of where we are placed. But I know all of our people do not like to sign up to the census. So this tells you why we have to keep on doing this type of work. but it also we can do the work, but we need your support. We do need a community support. So when we do have call outs, in regards to going to courts, if there's a rally, we've got a rally actually coming up on Saturday, the 20th. I have sent you the video on that, and it will explain exactly what this sister had gone through. And this is
okay. Is it something that you want me to play here, sis?
Yes, if you could, I have sent it to you.
Yeah.
In regards to what's happening on Saturday.
Right. Okay. Alrighty, I'll find that.
And so whilst you're doing it, I'll keep it because we don't want to mind the gap, as Nana would say. So so with that, you know, we are uniting, and there's also the African United Front, which all of the organisation, CTJ, sorry Kwesi, I don't want to butcher your organisation, so is it, you know, Kwesi's involved as well, the Garvey Village as well, because I'm also a director of the Garvey Village, CIC, so as you can see my banner. So, you know, it's all different. Al Cableland's also involved. And we've got other supporters, the Pan-African Sports and Culture Day Committee, they are involved as well. So we are working on that nation building.
Right. Oh,
to
fantastic.
go forward. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My
have you got
computer's
it?
running a little slow. Oops. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
To tell them it goes through my computer as well.
Yeah, that's the same thing what happened to me. Sorry. Yeah, you carry on.
For that. So yeah, I'm just spinning. Sis, why are you keeping to?
Yeah, have you done it?
No, it's just spinning at the moment. It's taking a little while to open up. This is what happens when I'm on Zoom. It tends to take a little while.
But that's no problem. So this is the situations that we do. We will support, and we have been supporting this particular campaign with Sister Siobhan. I don't want to give too much away because it will say it all in the video, so I don't want to be repeating it. So you know, we've always, in regards to the way how we've been treated within this divided kingdom, we will continue to be so. But it's also some of our people, because we will find them in our community that actually does this. When we was campaign for truth and justice, we wasn't leading the Peckham Rye hair shop where the shop owner has strangled, non-fatal strangulation was committed on this woman because she asked for a refund. But he thought that he could get away with it, but he didn't bank on somebody else, another sister, a young princess, actually videoing it, and that's how that video got out, so everybody could see what was happening within that shop. And we had the support. We had support initially from the community. But the shop owners, they wasn't expecting us to be out there. We was out there for nearly 2 months.
Well done.
On a daily basis.
Magic.
But we found that our communities, because we've got sleeper agents within our community, and we have to remember that. Okay? And some of those sleeper agents was coming and attacking some of the protesters.
Wow.
Okay? And that was when I say sleeper agents, that was our people, supposedly our people. So we have to be mindful of those people within our community as also. So in regards to Peckham, that still hasn't come to a conclusion yet, because I'm waiting. I've been in contact with the inspector. Yes. That is in regards to that patch for Peckham, and he's been keeping me up to date on what's going on and so forth. But the latest information that I did receive from him, he actually said that they won't be known in regards to the bail, not the bail, the charges, if the shopkeeper or the sister, because they did charge the sister as well. They did arrest the sister as well. If she's going to be, if they're going to be charged, so they won't let me know if it's the sister or the shop owner, the parasitical shop owner. Okay, if they're going to be charged, so I won't know until March. So leading up to that, we will be having flash mobs at Peckham Rye at the it's now called Kings and Queens, because it was Peckham Hair and Cosmetics, but they had to change it because of the exposure that they was getting. So they've called it Kings and Queens and named it after a shop that is based in Wolverhampton, which is melanated owned. Would you believe that?
This is what these people are like.
Yeah, and this is what these Indians do.
Rise Up campaign for truth and justice, for holding the fort outside of that shop, you know, for 2 months. And, you know, it's good to hear that you're all going to be following through on that case as well. And that, you know, you're not going to let it slide. No. So, you know, we rise up the family for that. Is there going to be a council meeting? I remember one time we were saying that.
Yes, we did have a council
meeting. Involved. They need to take action because they're renting the premises from the council, and absolutely no way should we be allowing, you know, these sorts of shopkeepers who want to assault our community to be allowed to run business. You know, and so the council needs to get involved. What was the response from the council? Anything happening there?
Right. So we did hold a meeting. Oh, I can't trying to remember and recall the dates when we held the meeting. I think it was October. I'm not sure, but we did have a council. No, it was hot, so it must have been like around September when we had that funny spell of hot weather. And what we have, it's Councillor Martin Seaton, who is actually, it's his portfolio for commercial properties within, because he's a councillor, as you know, but he's the cabinet member which holds the commercial properties. So we need to be speaking, we speak with him, and also we won't be going any further until we find out what's happening in March. Then we will hold another meeting, because that's when we want to have the borough commander on the panel as well as other councillors as well. And even if the mayor of Southwark wants to appear, he is quite welcome to as well to appear on that. And we will be issuing our demands of what we need and not what we want. We will be demanding what we want within Peckham Rye, especially. We want our own. We want shops that are front facing, not packed all the way back, where you have to try to find them, locate them in within the market. We need to be at the front, because there's too much of the Asian shops that we are finding that is at the front. They've taken over Rye Lane, so we need to have a few more out there, and that's what we are working towards. You're muted, sis. You're muted. Yeah. I love saying that. Yeah, go for it.
That would be absolutely brilliant, you know. So do keep us posted on that, so that we can make sure the community comes out and support. We need all the businesses, all the black businesses up and down Rye Lane coming out to support that. There's the old Asda building I'm familiar with on Rye Lane that's been empty for a long time. You know, we should have been organised as a community so we can take over that building and, you know, we control it. We set it up like Bon Marché was set up in Brixton, where you have a multiplicity of small storekeepers, small black businesses rather, selling their wares. You know, we've got to come together and start doing business on that level. Absolutely agree. Okay, in the background, I've managed to get the video, the TikTok video working. So I'm just going to share screen now and bring that up. Yeah, there it is. Oh, and I must play. Okay, here we go. So can you see the screen? Should be able to see the screen there. Now let's play this video. Oh, she's looking good. Here we go.
Boycott Noor Cash and Kerry, 23 Brixton Village. Brixton Market, SW9 8PS. Opposite the fishmongers in Brixton Market. Drop the charges now. 1 hour of power every strong week 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. 20th and January 27, 2024 and ongoing. Sister Siobhan was refused service, treated with hostility, physically assaulted, verbally and sexually harassed, called a black whore. False allegations were made against her, resulting in 4 serious criminal charges. She ended up being arrested in full view of the community shopping in Brixton, a great embarrassment and affront to her personal dignity and reputation. At the police station, she was subjected to a strip search and left naked in the cell whilst male officers viewed her, adding further humiliation, and refused a phone call to a solicitor or friend. Court case is due in February 2024. The attack against Sister Siobhan is part of the systematic, institutional racist attack against our community. These parasitical traders' attacks, supported and escalated by the police, state, is indicative of the general treatment of a colonized people by a colonial state. These parasitical traders in our community take our money and disrespect us, in particular, our women. These attacks and abuses will not stop until we recognize we are a nation and we must build and support our own nation, business, building institutions. The African United Front is now formed. Our attempts at negotiating a solution with Noor Cash and Kerry has been rejected. We demand community boycott Noor Cash and Kerry, a public apology and compensation for Sister Siobhan. Drop the charges now. Support black businesses. Charge Peckham trader for non-fatal strangulation. Brixton, Peckham, Africa. One struggle, one fight. Support United African Front. For further information on the Sister Siobhan Community Support Campaign, contact us on the following mobile phone number, which is 07404 308 634. I repeat, 07404 308 634. Enough is enough. 1 hour of power. For more information, visit us at ctj.org.uk. You touch one, you touch all. Campaign for truth and justice.
Wow, another
Campaign
brilliant.
for truth and justice.
There we go. Wow, another brilliant piece of work there, done by your web designer.
Webmaster, I call him.
Your
He's our
webmaster.
webmaster. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. So it's 1 hour of power.
Yeah.
So which day is it? Every
Saturday.
Saturday from
Well,
1 till 2, was it?
Yes, 1 till 2.
At Brixton, in
At
Brixton.
Brixton. Yeah.
Facing the fishmongers. Any more about the address and the directions for people?
Right, so it is 23 Brixton Village, Brixton Market, SW9 8 Papa Sugar, and it's opposite
23
the fish
Village.
mongers in Brixton Market. Yeah.
Fishmongers. Well, family, if you can make it down there this coming Saturday at 1 p.m, 23 Brixton Village, Brixton Market, SW9 8PS, opposite the fishmongers. Be there and support and let's stop them getting any business from our people on that busy Saturday. In fact, if you can stay there for the rest of the day, stay there for the rest of the day.
No, we're not encouraging that. We're not encouraging only 1 hour. We're being disciplined. Because we notice that there's sometimes there's arguments that's happening afterwards, after that time. And but I think we should just
provocateurs, are they?
Sorry?
What? Are they sending in provocateurs to stir up argument and them?
Absolutely. Those are the sleeper agents. That's it.
It's so hard for us to make progress as a people because too many of our people are ready to work for the enemy, and undermine the good works that we're trying to do. There needs to be about 500 people outside that shop, and they should not be getting any business for the whole of the Saturday. Every Saturday should be the same thing. And then when the rest of them down there, Sista, when they disrespect the African woman, no business for them on a Saturday. They will fix up. So the number you need, family, if you're wanting to join that protest and that demonstration outside the shop, is 074 04 308 634. I'll try and put that in the chat as well. Wow, what a session. We've gone so over time. I haven't even had a chance to tell the people about the Black British online course that's coming up. So I'm going to do that right now. But before I do, Brother Caul Grant, you've been doing some amazing works in the community. You have been selflessly, out there, putting yourself on the front line, not just for your cause, but for the cause of so many others as well. So we want to thank you so much for the works that you've been doing for decades now in our community. Sista Chez, you're a light and you're adding to his shining armor, out there standing strong by his side, a campaigner and activist in your own right who's been doing so much in the community, and together you're a formidable force. And family, as a team, you can catch them every Friday at 6 p.m. on Galaxy Afiri Radio, and I have already posted the link to that in the chat. And now you've also got Brother Kwesi, and I have posted his link, his email address in the chat as well. Family, so you should have Brother Kwesi's email address in the chat. And let me also just quickly post here as well the link to the online course. Installment options are available as well, so you don't have to pay all at once. You can pay some this month and some next month as well. But join that course. We have a phenomenal history in Britain, believe it or not. They lead us to believe and think that we only came here as part of the Windrush. We've been here for countless thousands of years. Oh my gosh, and the evidence is there as well. There's so much to unravel, so much for information to bring to our communities, and we are honored to have Dr. Clyde Winters as well be joining us on that course. Let me see if I can quickly bring up the advert for that. Here we go. Winters from the USA. Hold on there. Oh gosh, the thing I run where. Hold on there. Let me share screen first, family. And it would be awesome if you were able to join us for this Black History Study course. Okay, let's share screen. Here we go.
Join Master Teacher Dr. Clyde Winters from the USA and Sista Shanice on an epic journey through hidden chapters of important Black African history in Britain. Brace yourself for an epic journey into uncharted territories with this up-and-coming groundbreaking online study course. Who is it for? If you are an African history enthusiast, if you are looking for Black history material as an educationalist, if you are a parent homeschooling your children about Black British history and want to broaden their curriculum with knowledge that they're not going to acquire in the mainstream, then this course is for you. Black people in Britain have a greater belonging to Britain and the British Isles than you could imagine. Seize your spot on this pioneering course and be part of resurrecting our true history. Starting 22nd of January from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Fee £199 and instalment payment options are available. For more information, visit sistershanice.gumroad.com. Sister, S-I-S-T-A, shanice.gumroad.com.
Yes, family, register now. Woo, woo, woo. Thank you to those who have already registered, and to those who are planning to, thank you. Look forward to you joining us. I've been doing the research in preparation for this course, and the history that we have that links us here that we have here in Britain and the British Isles. It's criminal to know that they've been excluding it from the curriculum. It's criminal to know that they all have all of this information and they've been denying us this knowledge and this information. It's criminal, the way that they have been, the history that they have created and they have given us. Even with Black History Month that we've been having for decades in this country, they have failed to reveal the truth of our history to us. Well, we need a team who are prepared to start doing the research, who are prepared to start writing the books, who are prepared to start writing the scholarly works. We've got Dr. Clyde Winters, who's a master teacher. He's written over 40 books, nearly 50 books, and over 200 scholarly papers. And he is ready to download into us. So family, if you want to be putting the information out there, absorbing the information and putting it out there in book form, etc., jump on this course. We've got to do it. No one's going to do it for us. We've got to do it for our children. Brother Kwesi, sorry we weren't able to see you, but good to know that you were in the house. To everybody in the audience that's been listening, for all your messages and your support. We get to glimpse Brother Kwesi. Keep up the great works, Brother Kwesi. Sister Chez, Brother Paul, to everybody in the chat, please do share. Let people know that help and support is out there. Rise up, Brother Kwame Aboje. More love, more strength. Brother Kimani, every single one of you in the audience, thank you all so much. But we got to tear ourselves away now. We're well over time. All being well, we'll be black next strong.
We're over time because it's an interesting show.
Yeah,
beautiful show. Beautiful platform.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yes.
Take care, family. Keep up the great work, and we'll see you there on Saturday.
All
Bye
right.
for now.
Bye.
Give thanks.
Bye for now.